Portugal. So I came and checked it out in 2021, fell in love with it, fell in love with the people, the culture, the nature, the ocean. And, everyone that I talked to was like, yes, Portugal, there's so much love and the great music and the people and all the good reasons to be here. What's not to love? And in the United States, I had been hosting a lot of dance parties for the last year that I was living there. I had dance parties almost every weekend, and it was such a beautiful way to, just connect with people and have fun and release and move energy and trauma and, just let go. And so I'm really grateful for that experience, and I wanted to dive into dance culture here as well. And I found out right away that there was a strong ecstatic dance movement in Portugal. There's always events happening almost every weekend in every part of the country. And my first event was in Ericeira here with Henrique, who I'm here talking with, and Ricky, who's behind the camera. They're part of the team that puts together the ecstatic dance events in Ericeira. And so I wanted to talk with Henrique and find out his experiences and what inspired him to get involved with it, and as a facilitator, and just witnessing and facilitating the beautiful connection that happens in these events. So Henrique, would you talk a little bit about how you came to ecstatic dance and what inspired you to get involved as a facilitator?
Yeah, that gets me thinking. Actually, the first time that I came into contact with ecstatic dance, first time that I heard about this concept, I believe it was with this group from Momo, and it's called Cacao, and it's very focused on cacao as a heartwarming medicine, heart-opening medicine. Yeah, at the time I was kind of already involved in the medicine songs and sound healing and that kind of world through the didgeridoo and other instruments that I play, and also overtone singing and other stuff like that. And I went to this Coração de Cacao event as like a guest musician. The DJ was my friend and he invited me to play some didgeridoo. So yeah, that's the first time that I went to an ecstatic dance event. And it was kind of crazy to see that people could come together in this way. So it was actually something pretty novel for me. I didn't really know, like, coming from just the night scene in general and the psychedelic trance music, and that was kind of my reference for festivals and for, colorful people celebrating together in the nature and that kind of setting. So ecstatic dance was like that, but much more conscious, much more healthy in all senses. Like, just the fact that the schedule is always a daytime schedule that kind of respects the circadian rhythm of the body. So that is already something that pushes it a lot into the more healthy kind of format. But then also other things. But yeah, mainly the way that people connect, how people connect in an ecstatic dance event, and connection being really this centerpiece, that everything else is made around it to serve it. That, I guess, yeah, is what really drew me to this. Also other things like the musical genres, like the fact that ecstatic dance is so diverse. Yeah.
Can you also talk about just your personal transformation with ecstatic dance and what you've experienced?
Oh, definitely. Like, the biggest personal transformation that I experienced was the fact that I started organizing events. It's actually 1 year ago that I started organizing ecstatic dance events. Ecstatic Dance Ericeira was this project that was born here, where we are right now, in this same place. And exactly 1 year ago. So it's the completion of a cycle. I can really look back into myself 1 year ago and see really that I'm a different person. And ecstatic dance was a big part of that change for me. But it started even sooner. It started before I was organizing. It started as I was just discovering this world and this way of connection and this way of celebration and celebration that is not just about partying, but is also conscious celebration. It's There is room for celebration, but there is also room for, yeah, being in touch with more dense emotions, which are also part of us. So I always felt like this need to be positive, this need to be high energy, like, which is very present, I think, in our society, and especially in like nightlife and parties. Ecstatic dance offers kind of a different, yeah, it can be also a very kind of a cocoon, a very nurturing womb also, and still be celebratory. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything in specific that you're kind of curious about, but in terms of transformations, I would say that, yeah, mostly this topic of connection that I've been speaking about is kind of, everything revolves around that. Also, in terms of my personal transformations, the way that I approach connecting with other people, the way that I approach connecting to myself, and even connecting to the divine, to everything, to the universe, to nature. It's kind of these three circles of connection that, or maybe even two circles, me and the other, and then in the overlap of me and the other is like, yeah, the universe and nature. It helped me also to, or maybe it was just something that was kind of going side by side as I was entering more into this world and discovering it more. I was also very interested in studying kind of polarity, like this just basic, yeah, this very basic way for every living being to kind of make sense of the world and to experience the world. We do it through this duality system interface of perception. I don't really know how to put it into better terms, but I think we all acknowledge that we experience life through hot and cold, good and bad, sun and moon, you know, day and night. So all of these dualities kind of hide an intrinsic oneness, and the oneness is really this, yeah, this very fundamental existential, maybe reality that is even more real than the reality we experience, because that is filtered through our senses. So that one would be the duality reality. And yeah, ecstatic dance and this self-exploration, this self-discovery is really something that facilitates that and can be a very big catalyst for it. And for me, for myself, it was very much a big catalyst for it. So yeah, understanding what is feminine energy inside of me, what is masculine energy inside of me. So when actions come and when thoughts come, I can kind of understand from which part of myself is it coming from. And this really brought me a lot of like, yeah, clarity, I would say.
That feeling of oneness is something that's really beautiful, and I've experienced that a lot in many dance events and concerts, and especially at ecstatic dance. And I think a lot of people think that you need to have like herbal medicine or plant medicine or psychedelics to have that experience. But I think that the structure of how an ecstatic dance event unfolds, it's almost like a one-day retreat. And I was wondering if you could just talk about the structure, because I've talked about ecstatic dance events with people and they don't really know what it is, and I think that they're kind of intimidated by it. But it's kind of an unknown because it's not typically documented or broadcast on social media. That's part of the process, to have just complete freedom and let go. You don't have your phones out, you're not recording the whole thing. So could you talk a little bit just about the structure of what an ecstatic dance event might look like?
So I can let you know about what I do, what we do in Ecstatic Dance Ericeira. Also from my experience of other ecstatic dance events, mostly in Portugal. But then I would just add that it's very open. It's really just yeah, like the sky's the limit in terms of creativity. You can really tap into many formats, many disciplines, many methods. The end goal is connection. So you can achieve connection. First of all, the thing that we always do, especially here in Ecstatic Dance City Soda, is to have this like when we start, we're coming from our own lives, from everyday consciousness, everyday awareness. We're coming with so much, sometimes so much baggage. Like we're dealing with emotions, we're dealing with family situation or with the professional situation or whatever it is, you know. So when we arrive at the event, as I was saying, the first thing we do as an activity, as like a group dynamic, is to just do something that puts us really in touch with the body and not with the mind. When I say the body, is usually like in opposition to being in touch with the mind. And yeah, we all know what it is to be very much in the head, very mental, but being in the body is something as simple as just through breathing or through activating it physically. It can be yoga, it can be some sport. In this case, I'm not even talking about the events, like we never did sports or anything like that, but it's also a very good way to be in touch with your body, and it makes a huge shift in how you feel inside your own skin. Like if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling kind of demotivated, kind of feeling down, try to get up, hydrate yourself, drink a glass of water, and just like jump around for 5 minutes or do some push-ups. And for me personally, this is something that is like one of these amazing tricks, like hacks that, yeah, it's so simple, it's so accessible to us, but at the same time, I don't know if it's used enough. Like, and I hope it will be used more and more by more people, because yeah, it's just these super simple, super natural medicines that are very in touch with connecting us either to ourselves, to others, or again to the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to nature, to God, if you're super religious or spiritual. So yeah, there's always an element of this, of putting people in touch with the body, because it potentiates the dance experience even more. Like dancing is a very bodily thing, right? Obviously. So if you are coming to the dance part already very much in tune with the body, then yeah, it's like you're starting here in this level of connection with your body, and you can go much higher instead of starting here. And yeah, and then you have to like use the first half an hour of dance to kind of loosen up and everything, and then arrive at this point where you could already start at that point if you kind of do some dynamics. So breathwork is one of them. We always have breathwork in our events. In general, in ecstatic dances in general, what I've experienced, there's not always something like this, but there can be something just as simple as a guided meditation, which already kind of, yeah, is this invitation to empty the mind, to be in touch with the breathing. So it's, again, very free. You can do it in many ways, using many methods. Then something else that we do, and I think I've mentioned that the first ecstatic dance that I went to was very much around a cacao ceremony, and we also use that. So cacao is also plant medicine. We see it in that way, and it can affect us chemically, of course. It has this component called theobromine, which is I don't know if you can say psychoactive, but I think you can. This psychoactive component of cacao, the same way that caffeine is the psychoactive component of coffee, theobromine is the psychoactive component of cacao. And it's kind of similar to the effect of caffeine, but it's kind of a less jittery effect. It creates less anxiety. You feel it less as like mm, a tense thing. It's less tense. It's more relaxed, I would say. This I'm speaking just from my own experience, but I feel cacao as something that, well, it's said as something that opens the heart, and I do feel it also, that it opens the heart. It makes me more open, more vulnerable, I'm more open to like accept, to bring in what is in front of me, like emotionally. I'm less closed. I feel that my heart chakra is more open. I can say it. And it makes sense that it's like that, because actually theobromine has this effect on the veins of the heart. It opens them up, it dilates them. This is scientifically proven, and I'm always careful of speaking about chakras and stuff, because I know many people see that as spiritual woo, which I also did a few years ago. But I've come to integrate it in as part of my perception of myself and others. And yeah, and as I always say regarding spiritual woo stuff, if it makes sense for you, and if you can derive some practical and useful applications for it, then experiment with it. And it's not so much a matter of believing or not believing. Like, can you use it? Can it bring value to your life? That's more of the thing the more of the approach that I would suggest to have. And yeah, so we use Cacao. We use somatic practices such as yoga or breath work or meditation. And then we always have some kind of a warm-up. And the warm-up, usually in the warm-up, we really it's like this 15 minutes more or less where there's already music being played. And this is kind of, we're warming up to start the dance, and there's already some background music, no beat, nothing very danceable, but already something that creates a feeling that evokes an emotion from you. And during these 15 minutes, or more or less, usually we guide people into like pairs, and we do some eye gazing, I like to call it soul gazing, and even we introduce sometimes a bit of touch. Like we can be a bit tantric about it, in the sense of we are actually exploring this polarity of masculine and feminine in others and in us. Of course, we're not pairing men with women specifically or something like that. Like the pairs just randomly happen. We usually guide people to just pair up with the first person that they see, something like that. And if they have a beating heart, then it's just as good as a person as anyone else as it could be. So yeah, it can get a bit tantric in that sense. It's never anything like sexual or anything like that. When I use the word tantric, that's not kind of the vibe that I want to be passing, but it's a connection. It's a very powerful connection moment, usually, where you are pairing up with someone. There is eye gazing happening, so you are really very present with each other. Usually your breathing will synchronize kind of automatically, just by default, as you are standing in this moment. That can be a bit intense. It can be a bit uncomfortable if you're not used to just looking at someone in the eyes for a long time without speaking and without kind of justifying yourself or trying to make some face or faking a smile just because it's awkward or something like that. So yeah, eye gazing is also a very powerful thing that we use. And if you include touch in it, then it's even more. And usually we start from there and we go into like introducing light movements, small movements, and then it's this uphill motion. I mean, it's this uphill motion of just growing in intensity until we reach the peak of the experience and then the come down. But that's the ecstatic dance wave.
All of these, exercises and connections that you facilitate in, the warm up, getting ready to dance, they really cultivate a sense of safety and connection and also freedom. Like for my own experience, when I've done also some of Momo's ecstatic dance events where there's, a cacao ceremony at the beginning, I have a lot of my own trauma and issues sort of come up and just, I am very woo woo and I do feel the chakras and I really feel this release, almost like a purge of this pain and emotional trauma that I've been holding on to. And this also facilitates more freedom because I'm not holding on to that and I can really just let go and experience the love and the joy and the bliss and that connection that is facilitated through like the soul gazing, the eye gazing, and these tantric exercises. They just allow a freedom of connection without expectations or without, like if you're in a nightclub and people are drinking and people are there because they want to hook up, they want to get laid, or, they want to grind on you. It can feel very invasive and violating. And I feel like the culture of consent and connection that is cultivated at ecstatic dance events is is really empowering, and it's safe. And even friends that I've brought to events that didn't know about ecstatic dance, or hadn't been to events like this in the past, they always comment on how free people are, and there's not this sense of jealousy or possession or like ownership. It's just about connection and love, and I feel like that's something that, we really just need more of in the world. And you're doing a great service for the world, providing this kind of space. Um, and I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about what your experience is witnessing these connections, and how you feel as a facilitator in this kind of environment.
There is no better feeling, I can tell you, because yeah, what I feel, what I see, first of all, is like hope for the future. This is mainly what I see. I see that it is possible to come together from different cultures, different ages, like intergenerational encounters that are so beautiful, like the wisdom of older people and this really like strong power of young people, of emerging leaders. And also like different cultures, also different ethnicities, different spiritualities, because there are many, or like practices of it, and different opinions, different everything, different skin colors. Like, yeah, to see so much diversity, especially that we're here in Ericeira, in like the Lisbon area, which is a very touristic place, and many people from many parts of the world come here. And so it's such a diverse pool of people, and seeing them like come back into oneness, because it is the feeling that we kind of feel during the event, or especially in peak moments, is this feeling of oneness, this oceanic feeling of, yeah, being back in the womb or something, or being, there is no other. Like, I think when we're in the womb, there is more or less this feeling of everything is me, and you can feel it again every weekend, which is amazing. But so as a facilitator and as someone that puts this together, like, it's just such a heartwarming feeling, and also something that aligns. You feel very, or I feel, I cannot speak for anyone else, but I feel so much aligned with my purpose when I'm doing it, or when it's successful, when it happens and it happens well and people are happy. And sometimes they're not even happy and people are crying because that's what they need at the moment, or people are meeting each other and beautiful connections are arising from that, that last into like business relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend, amazing friends that they become. So yeah, the feeling is super incredible, and it's even kind of unbelievable. It feels like a dream that, yeah, that the circumstances aligned in such a way that this is possible for me to be creating this. So yeah, I'm very honored. And it also evokes this feeling of being at service, and to touch a little bit upon that thing that I was saying about the purpose. Because, yeah, so 1 year ago, a little bit over 1 year ago, I discovered that I was going to be a father. My girlfriend was pregnant, and there was a big shift that also happened inside of me at that time, and since that time, it has been happening. And yeah, so I was going into a bit of a nihilism phase, hedonism phase, where, yeah, like I would see human beings are just like this cancer on the planet Earth, and we are mimicking the behavior of cancers on organisms. We are doing it to the planet. Everyone just cares about money. Everyone just wants to get laid, and it's all about dominance hierarchies, and being like unfair and dishonest to have your way above others. And like, yeah, like I was getting this feeling from society, from the human presence in general in the world. And I kind of, yeah, was feeling like, who cares? Why should I try? Like, let's just, I don't know, smoke joints and do nothing all day. Like, whatever, just do the minimum, the bare minimum to get by. And why should you strive for more than that? Like, there are already too many like systems put into place to not allow you to go up from a certain point, like, yeah. And so when I found out that I was going to be a father, then there was this big shift. And like from there, I was feeling like, no, like this, let's make it work. If it's not working, like, yeah, I need to. Yeah, there's this sentence that I love a lot. I don't remember who said it, but it's about if there's something you don't like, either change it, or if it's beyond your power to change it, then change the way you think about it. So I kind of went very deep into that and decided that I needed to do something, and Ecstatic Dance Ericeira was this something that I did. So, yeah, just to tie it back to the question of how does it feel? Like, it feels like hope for the future. It feels like we can make a difference. And it feels like we're all one. There's no better feeling. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing just that beautiful overview. And I know it must be so fulfilling, and especially having this 1 year anniversary come up. I just want to congratulate you for doing this for a year and providing this service for so many people, and for really stepping into your own role, kind of a parental role, both literally as a father, but also as a facilitator for this community. And could you just share what you have coming up for the 1 year anniversary and the next few months?
Yeah, so just to give a little bit of context, for this 12-month cycle that is just coming to a close now, we did one event per month, and it was 10 events because for 2 months we did a little stop in November and December. It was also low season. So for these 10 events, we went through like 5 or 6 different venues, or even 7, maybe. Yeah, possibly like 7. Yeah, basically because it was difficult to find a good space inside of this small town of Ericeira that, yeah, that offered all of the characteristics that we were looking for, and enough privacy for our dynamics, and for the whole experience to really be this safe space where you feel like you're, yeah, in a very safe place that is nurturing, also that is inspiring, ideally, like contact with nature, the closeness to the ocean, good decorations, a comfortable floor, because also we dance barefoot. So there are a few like specifications that made it always a challenge to think about the next event. Where are we going to do it? How, yeah, how are we going to structure the whole thing? But so, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this first anniversary, is because we did a partnership with UN the Sea, which is a 4-star hotel inside of Ericeira. So, yeah, it's a very reputable business partner, and we're happy to be teaming up with them. Also because they are also very big on these values of like art, supporting environmental protection, and also, yeah, just sustainability in general. And you can, if you check out their website, or if you actually go to their hotel, you will see like the recycled woods and reused materials, and they have like huge art installations that are just made from recycled materials. I think all of them were done by this amazing artist, this revolutionary talent that we have in Portugal called Bordal II, Bordal II, Bordal II. So yeah, this is a very exciting part of the anniversary. Is this big step up in terms of a venue? So we're going to be doing it at La Barraque, which is UNDC's kind of private park that they have in Ericeira. It's a seaside open grassland, like with the kids area, playground, which is also amazing that people can come as a family, bring their kids, and leave the kids with some loving caretakers that will allow the parents to really enjoy the experience to the fullest and not be so concerned about whose ear is their kid biting right now. And something else that we are preparing for the anniversary that still didn't happen before is we're going to have circus arts with fire, which is something that we can actually do there, which is amazing. if we do it in the middle of nature, it's always dangerous to do it, and we don't want to be trespassing laws, obviously, and risking to create some kind of hazard for also for the setting, the environment where we do it. So yeah, what we have planned, I will just let you know the program. We have the breathwork as always, so it's going to be a 10-hour celebration from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. And we start the activities at 2 with the breathwork. Then we go into the cacao ceremony, and from there we have a small break. And then what we're going to do, and I think it's going to be beautiful, is like this workshop where my friend Eric Gonçalves, he does amazing work with fixing people's, you know, bone problems and posture problems, and he's really a master in that. His website is expandedbodyworks.pt. Check it out. He has his office in Estoril, and he's gonna kind of teach people the techniques that he uses, because the way that he does massage, he's traveled around the world learning from the masters in Thailand, in everywhere. And the way he does massage is not so much the typical using just your hands thing. Like, he uses his whole body, and he's gonna kind of teach us these techniques in an experiential way. We're gonna first give and then receive, or vice versa, depending on which one, depending on if you do first or receive second, or receive first. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Also, this workshop of the contact massage. And from there, we go into the dance. We always have this warm-up first during the first kind of 15 minutes. Then the wave, the musical wave that the ecstatic dance DJ sets always follow, is exactly this increase in intensity, where first we start tapping into more kind of childish or even like the purity of childhood, or like those kind of emotions, and more easy kind of beat. And then we go into like more adolescence, more a bit of, there's more tension in the feeling of the music, and there's more speed also, and there's like, you can move more, you can do more things. Like, the music communicates that and invites you to do it, until we reach then the peak, this explosiveness, where we can really like shake and let loose, and really have this catharsis moment of feeling the intensity of the music, and the intensity of the people around you, and the intensity of what's going on inside of you also, and have this big like release moment through movement. You can also like shout if you feel like it, but mainly through movement. And then from there we come down. We have a bit of a, like, again, we go back to not being so intense, so we make it a little less, or much less intense. And we kind of introduce now a bit of the element of melancholy, and of this feeling of, okay, now we're tired, you know, and you feel it in the body, and the music also communicates it, and you experience this kind of old age stage of your life, and you kind of live that through the music, where you're more emotionally mature, but you also miss stuff from the past. Like, this is just my personal kind of take on it, but I'm trying here to explain how the musical journey goes, in terms of how the experience is for the people. But I guess every person will have a very different experience of it. But so after the music, it's very important, or after the dance, I would say, it's very important, and we always include it, that there is some opportunity and space created for integration, because it can be a very intense experience, and sometimes emotions come up that we are opening ourselves up, we are kind of surrendering to the process, and by doing that, it's natural that stuff that we've been kind of trying to control and suppress, as we soften up, they are allowed also to come up. So the integration moment is very important, and usually we dedicate, after the dance, a whole slot of the program. Sometimes it's a concert, medicine songs usually. Like we try to bring, so yeah, the ethnic kind of influences from South America, Pachamama, the tribes, this kind of feeling, because it's very important also to, after the whole kind of human experience of the wave, you start as a child, then you go into the adolescence, then the adult phase, and kind of the midlife crisis, and then you go into old age, and then you die at the end. And then it's very important to bring you back into nature, into sacredness, into oneness, so that the, yeah, the emotional parts that bubble up don't become overwhelming, so that you don't feel like, yeah, that you didn't have space and time to integrate and support. And yeah, so at the end we always do this concert or sound healing or something that is just, you can just lay down, receive, and it's a nurturing moment for you to just be with yourself and receive. Yeah, so that is the program. It's not so different from all the other programs that have happened so far with us, but what's very different is that it's a big venue. We can have like 200 people. So far we've been limited to 60. And yeah, it's a big open space. There's this kids playground area. There's, yeah, more direct contact with the ocean. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm very excited about it, definitely. And I invite everyone to come and yeah, participate in creating this soul tribe experience and this healing experience for yourself and others.
Thank you so much, Henrique, for sharing all that. And I really hope that you have now a very big, beautiful picture of what ecstatic dance is. But we could talk about it for days. The very best way to get to know what it really is to just come and dive right into it, have the immersive experience, come for this, almost day-long mini retreat that is going to be hosted here. And there's also a Telegram group for all of the ecstatic dance events in Portugal. But if you're watching this from another country, I'm sure you can find events in your regional area as well. But do check out Ecstatic Dance Ericeira and participate in one of their beautiful events. You get the ocean view, good food nearby, great people, good tarot readings by Henrique, great breath work, yoga, music. What more could you ask for?